Oh no. Okay. Okay. Gorgeous. Simply gorgeous. Well, I can say that my set is just so spotless. Hey, I decided to do just an impromptu live stream because I actually like it to see when other people do live streams that were not planned. And I just have this desire to talk to you guys. Hi, Victoria, how are you? And yeah, I feel like I'm sort of losing my connection with my audience that I've been, to be honest with you, I've been putting some effort to build. And right now, I'm kind of changing the direction of what I'm doing, and I'm not giving that many lessons anymore. I kind of work on my agency for the most part, but at the same time, I do remember that you guys want content related to great English articulation. I mean, articulation and the skill set of communicating your thoughts is always just a tool, right? It's never an endpoint, it's never a destination. And in my view, in my humble opinion, the better you can communicate your ideas, the more powerful you become in whatever you do. I really observe and witness, great word, I witness a lot of discrepancy between what people can do and how people can communicate what they can do. There's always kind of this dip, always this gap. And things like that, the exercises like this one, where you just talk, when you practice your critical thinking out loud, it actually makes us more conversant in this craft. We could become more crafty in this science, in this art of communication. This video will be dedicated to a book that I think was probably one of the first books on success and practical books that I inspected, that I digested in my early 20s. I think I was 20, 22, fresh out of college or something. I was I think finishing my university there then. And as many folks of my generation, hi Valentina, as many folks of my generation, at 22 years old, for some reason, I felt the pressure of becoming successful. This is something that Americans and, in the same breath, Europeans can't understand. And I still can't explain it, but the time when graduated from university, I already felt like I had to accomplish something. And this book, the book by Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, was just what the doctor ordered. It was just something that I was really looking for, some kind of a guidance, sacred knowledge, secret pathway that would allow me to become successful, right? We all know about, now we know as mature and experienced people, we know that there is never like one key or one way to get to whatever success in your life. All the routes described by other people, all the success stories described by other people only worked in their unique circumstances, right? So unique circumstances stay in the way of us being able to replicate someone's success. And you live in your unique circumstances. Therefore, yeah, there are definitely some clues to success. We must listen to people who give advice, but at the same time, we have to reckon with, and we have to bear in mind that we do have our own environment, we do have our own society, culture, whatever it may be, market, that can put a damper on our hopes of becoming successful by following a particular route. But nonetheless, having said all that, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People was a cornerstone for me. It was a pillar for me to lean on in the beginning of my journey as an entrepreneur, or just as a person who started working, started making money, and just wanted to have a broader perspective on life, right? We all want to have a broad perspective. That's why we watch original movies or original sources, right? If you don't do this, I highly encourage you to always check the original source. And original source give us just a broader understanding of this world. Now, tonight I'm just gonna review this book the way I understand it, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I do believe that for all the people that I interact right now in my life, this book could be really, really helpful for all the startuppers, for all the people who already work in big companies, global companies that I work with as a coach, as a tutor, and also for all of my clients, for all people around me. I think that this book will be time worth spent, or this live stream will be time worth spent. Stephen Covey was one of the greatest, brightest minds of his generation, and he wrote a bunch of books, but this best-selling book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, definitely stood out. And yeah, just the way it sounds, he gave us 7 rules, 7 habits, which if we are able to cultivate, if we're able to develop, we have higher chances of getting to success in its ordinary, conventional sense, right? Well, freedom, financial freedom, health, that's what Stephen Covey puts in his definition of success, right? So the first habit that Stephen puts for highly effective people is being proactive. Being proactive means taking control of your actions and taking control of your choices. It sounds easier than it actually is, right? How about we all control our choices. I decided what I'm gonna eat tonight. You know how I decided that? I was lazy and I ordered some food. So I know that this food, the junk food that I just ordered tonight, was not the best of my decisions, because this decision wasn't proactive. This decision was reactive. And reactive decisions are based on laziness, right, for the most part. But at the same time, they're based on short-term gains. We all want to have dopamine. We all want to have a hit of dopamine, right? That's what gives us these instant gratification things, right? So I got my junk food, tasted good. Now I feel not very well, but at the same time I did succeed in my pursuit of hitting the target and kind of gratifying myself. So it was an act of instant gratification. In Stephen Covey words, it was a reactive deed. Rather, what I could have done was to cook a healthy meal that would aid to my health, or that would contribute into my health and not weigh on my stomach as I go to bed, right? So being reactive or proactive, we have choice. What I memorized from Stephen Covey, like this phrase from 10 years memory, is that there is always a choice between the aggressor, right? Something that triggers you, right? There's always a choice between a trigger and your decision. And a lot of people, for the most part, we don't choose in a lot of cases, but we just do something by default. But the magic is, and the superpower is, to extend this distance between the trigger and your decision, what you're going to do. For example, if you're in a traffic jam and you're late for a meeting, right? A reactive approach would be, I don't know, just being frustrated, screaming, going nuts and not helping to resolve this situation. A proactive approach would be to actually maybe find other ways to get out of the traffic jam, or call someone to explain everything, to show your vulnerability that, hey, there is this traffic jam, I'm really sorry, right? So you're kind of thinking with your rational mind and how you can go over and how you can diminish the consequences, how you can alleviate the pain of the lateness on your part, right? So that's number one, being proactive. I actually gave a lesson, or just a training recently to one great company, and they said that one of their code, right, in their organizational culture is proactivity. So they try to grow, they try to nurture being proactive. And I think that this is particularly an attribute, based on Stephen Covey. Because before Stephen Covey, I don't remember that people were using proactiveness in such magnitudes. So he made it a widespread, widely recognizable word. Once again, being proactive, making a choice how to react, and not let your emotions dictate how you're going to do this or that, but try to rationalize things, or be in a rational mind more, okay? So the second one, begin with the end goal in mind. Well, this habit kind of encourage us to have a clear vision. Easier said than done, right? Again, have a clear vision. How hard is that? It's super hard in reality. When you are caught up doing something, I don't know, like pursuing a paycheck or doing your job, a lot of times we don't think about what vision or what is our mission or what is this end goal that we try to achieve as we started on this journey. But according to Stephen, this is like one of the main habits that one should develop. Basically, when you go to your work, and this comes from my professional experience as a help occasionally I do help people to prepare for job interviews, because I have my share deal of experience, hiring people in English, and I help them. And I always ask them, why do you want this job? Like, where does this job really facilitate your long-term aspiration? Like, what do you want to get? Do you want to, if you're looking for a great knowledge base, that's one thing. If you just want this thing for money, that's totally different thing. So if you want to have a great healthy culture, it's a separate thing, right? So you got to understand, why are you starting doing something from the very beginning, and always remind yourself on the end goal that you have, right? And for me personally, it's been super hard for right now, as I'm taking this journey of growing my agency, creative agency, where we help people to start their own podcasts. I have to remind myself constantly, why am I doing this? I know that this is not a dream job for me, but at the same time, it's something that puts food on my table, right? That pays the bills. So even though right now I'm not doing something that I think I'm destined for, something that I'm designed for, something that I can really reap the most benefits of, but at the same time, I know that this could be a temporary solution. Plus, I know that working with these amazing people, my clients, who we help producing podcasts for, and who we help with design and everything, who we help with the social media based on podcasts, I know that these people are incredible assets. And the more network I grow, the bigger my network become, the better off I'll be in life, right? So I had to abandon my career in IT, because I did own a company in e-commerce, work with America, and pretty much that's a thing of the past already. I put this to bed. Now I am developing a completely different career. And every single time I'm doing something separate that does not align, or that does not go in the line with my higher pursuits, I have to remind myself that what I'm doing right now is to pay the bills, is to make money, is to accelerate myself in my aspiration to become debt-free. I do have some debts that I want to pay back and just be debt-free. Moreover, make nurture great relationships with these amazing people who I can work with on a daily basis. Because as in an agency business, there's a lot of stress. Yeah, I can't lie to you. There's a lot of stress, but at the same time, a lot of communication, and a lot of opportunities to get to know people who you otherwise would have not the opportunity to know, right? So I'm growing my network. I'm learning the skill of being this great account manager, someone who, and sales manager. These are all the skills that I learn right now that will later help me in something greater that I really, really, really want to pursue. And my greater mission, if I haven't articulated it, that would be a pretty damn useful thing to do to formulate it once again. I want to help people to deliver their thoughts in English, and I want them to feel free using this language representing their businesses. And I want to help people, and when I inspire people to be brave, right, and to think globally, I want to do it by speaking at different events, at podcasts. I want to speak in front of the large audiences. So this is something that I truly want. I want to contribute and make a difference in growing a lot of change makers and leaders of my country who can easily deliver thoughts and talk to the world in English, right? So definitely my end goal has a lot to do with English, but right now, yeah, I'm doing this thing where we help people to produce their podcasts. Sort of a contrast, sort of a misalignment. But again, I remind myself, why am I doing this? Just to get to this thing in the end. At the same time, I'm not forgetting about it. I'm doing something right now. I'm recording this stream, right? So I have to still give credit to the thing that I already have people who want to hear me talk in English, who want to get this just a little bit of, I don't know, of this experience listening to me or communicating with me. So in an effort to do that, in a bit of providing people, with this, I'm doing this live stream, or sometimes I do free classes. So begin with the end goal in mind. Now, the third rule of highly effective people is to put first thing first. Well, like habit number 3, like, it's all about effective time management, and I'm horrible. I'm just abysmal when it comes to time management. I'm horrible time manager, and I know that's a negative programming, and when I say it, I make it more true than it probably really is. But I do procrastinate big time. I want to say that my relationships with deadlines are leveling up or becoming better, but I still, every single time when I do have a deadline, it brings me just a great deal of stress, and I can't let go of the thought that I need to do something by a certain time. Therefore, I just in whatever case in my life, I always try to cut loose whatever obligations, or free myself up of whatever obligations that are time bound. But put first things first is basically focusing on important and goal-aligned tasks, right? So if you begin thinking about the end goal when you do something, you have to keep thinking or remembering the end goal. Why are you doing this thing, right? Yeah. So it's all about prioritizing. Maybe this skill is something that I haven't mastered, let alone the fact that I might have even mastered like 50% of the skills, if I can say that. But anyway, win-win. Win-win is my favorites. One of my favorite habits. Thinking win-win is thinking from the perspective of mutual benefit. For example, I want to I don't know, like if there is an argument, I play basketball. When there is an argument and the teams can settle whose possession it is, right? Which team does have the right to get the ball? You shoot a free throw, right? You just do something with the aim in mind to resolve the case so that two parties could be satisfied. But there is a brilliant idea by Stephen Covey that instead of compromise, the idea that he pioneered that I really like is that instead of a compromise, which is actually taken away from both parties and finding something that people don't like, we should make an extra effort and find a third alternative. So a third alternative, as opposed to a compromise, is something that requires much more time, right? But if there are two sides or three sides or whatever number of parties involved that disagree on something, thinking about an alternative that would satisfy and that would not compromise anyone, right? That would satisfy, maybe with the more time will be needed or more resources or whatever, but there's always a third alternative to make it a win-win. And I remember his rule, one of his golden rules, is if you can't make it a win-win, and if you can't find the third alternative, that will mean like that both parties got there, right? You should even not bother to do a business together. So this is his deep-rooted, hardcore belief that if you can't get a win-win, just let go and don't be together. And this is something that I think can be attributed or can be also applied to interpersonal relationships between men and women, for example. If a man and a woman, and this comes from my real experience, if I don't feel that the energy that I give and the attention that I offer is not received properly, or it's not well received, or the party on the receiving end does not give you as much attention in exchange, right? And it's basically a one-way street relationship where you are giving and giving and giving and not receiving anything in exchange. I think this is a pretty damn broken and ill-advised relationships. Therefore, if we are ever in position as men and women, seeing that the other party is just not interested as you, is just not contributing as much as you're contributing, not trying as much as you're trying, it's always better to just let go. And letting go is a super skill, and I think I almost mastered it. I let go of so many people. I changed my environment, my surroundings completely. And it's hard to say bye. It's hard to burn bridges. But boy, oh boy, we do create so much space for ourselves to meet new people, to have new experience, to find new energy that will be beneficial. So I do believe that letting go is super power and super habit that, Stephen, you should have placed in this book as well. Yeah, the fifth habit of highly efficient people is seek first to understand, then to be understood. So let me read it out loud. This habit emphasizes the importance of empathetic communication. Before expressing your viewpoint, take the time to genuinely listen and understand the other person's perspective. Well, this is really valid advice in conflict resolution, right? we are all super quick to judge and late to listen. And Walt Whitman once said, greatly said that, don't, he said, he said, be curious, not judgmental. So if you're curious about the other person, why they are like they are, even if you hate what they're doing, by just being curious and not being judgmental, sometimes you help them understand how the stupidity of what they're doing. Don't mock anyone, don't engage in manipulation, but just be curious, ask questions. And that's the best way, not only, and try to genuinely listen. Try to actively listen. If you listen, because remember, you don't decide if you're a great listener. It's only the person on the other end who's talking decides that you're a great listener. And you're only great listener when the other party says that you are, that they say that I feel heard. In order to get to this point, try to just let go of all of the thoughts. Try to just be focused. And this is it's actually what meditation helps us. Just be present, but don't be present for yourself. Be present for the other human being, right? Meditation helps us inhibit whatever thoughts that come into our mind. That's what we can do and practice while we're listening, actively listening. There's a new thought that arose. Yeah, okay, thank you very much. I'll deal with you later. You don't remember something the person is saying and then say it back to them. You're really present there for them, listening and giving your all, just to let them feel that you're all in. Sometimes a lot of times, especially the poor people are suffering, what they need is a great listener, just a pair of free ears. Well, one of my friends said that probably one of the biggest assets and the biggest accomplishments in his life is that, and the biggest thing that his wife provided him with was the pair of free ears. If you are able to find a human being who can deeply and sincerely and empathetically listen to you and not judge, not criticize, not give whatever assessment, you are so lucky. You're fortunate to find someone who really truly cares about you. Yeah, because caring is about listening a lot of times without laying any judgment. Habit 6, synergize. So the power of teamwork and cooperation is in synergy is obvious. Our species is great and remarkable and one of a kind when we work in teams. And remember, team is not a group of people who works together. Team is a group of people that trust each other. And if a group of people trust each other, wonderful, wonderful things can happen, right? Synergy, and I always say about the brainstorming, best brainstorming is really messy, is when you interrupt each other. I have a friend who says that I hate listening to podcasts when the host interrupts. But sometimes interruption is due. Sometimes interruption really helps the speaker to, kind of complete their thoughts or elaborate their thoughts even better. So I'm a firm believer that great brainstorming or great conversation should be messy, should be interruptive. Not in a bad way, not an unethical way, but at the same time, if we just stick to, you know what I'm saying, right? So synergy to me is being open to other people's opinions, but at the same time, letting them interrupt you or maybe add up or build up on your ideas so that together you kind of, oh yeah, wait, no, oh yeah, this is real brainstorming. None when there is a moderator of a meeting and he says, it's your turn to speak, now it's your turn to speak, now it's your turn to speak. it's not a proper way to brainstorm. It's definitely not a proper way to synergize. Synergy takes place in just this messy kind of way, and a lot of people might feel that it's impolite to interrupt, but if you set up the table like this, and when you facilitate your discussion to be like this, believe me, your brainstorming session and your meetings will bring you so much more results and so much more fruits and yields. Okay. And the last habit, according to Stephen Covey, is to sharpen the saw. Yeah, so we have different saws. The saw, right? Sharpen the saw. Intellectual saw, social saw, emotional saw, intellectual saw. These are the saws that we have to sharpen, right? It all involves self-care, self-renewal, physical, mental, emotional, just taking time to exercise, read, meditate, spend quality time with loved ones. All this stuff rejuvenates us. All these exercises and practices help us stay up to date and stay really, really relevant. Maintaining high level of energy requires renovation, reinvention, constantly working on our saws, right? Sharpening it might not even becoming better, but to stay in the game. Because remember, if you don't progress, you regress. If you don't progress, you regress. If you don't progress, you regress. Yeah, guys, that was my 2 cents on this remarkable book. These habits, I think it's been 10 years or 20 years since Stephen Covey wrote this book, and it's still like top 3 choices for all of us when we want to change something, right? So I highly recommend you checking out this book if you haven't read it, or maybe just refreshing it in your mind will also be a good idea. All in all, thank you so much for your attention. Yeah, it's quite late already tonight, but I'm really, really thankful that you spent this time with me, and hopefully we'll see each other again soon. Thanks a lot, and bye.